We're finally going to Istanbul. I was honestly so excited for this trip because I had been wanting to visit Turkey for such a long time. And obviously, the first thing I did when we got on the plane was look out the window. I don't know what it is about airplane views, but I could literally stare at them forever. And after a few hours, we finally started getting closer to Istanbul. Seeing the city from above was actually so pretty, and that's when it really hit me that, okay, we're actually here. One of the first things I noticed about Istanbul was how beautiful the water is. The city is basically surrounded by these amazing views of the Bosphorus, and you can see boats going back and forth all the time. And I feel like the sea makes Istanbul look so much more peaceful, especially when you're walking around and you suddenly get this huge view of the water. There were honestly so many moments where I just stopped and looked around because everything looked like it belonged in a movie. And obviously we had to visit Hagia Sophia. I've seen pictures of it so many times before, but seeing it in real life was completely different. First of all, it's huge. Like, the pictures really don't show you how massive the inside actually feels. And here's something I found really interesting. Hagia Sophia is almost 1,500 years old. It was originally built as a Christian cathedral during the Byzantine period, and later it became a mosque. It was also used as a museum for a period of time, and today it functions as a mosque again. So just imagine how much history has happened inside this building. And what I really loved was seeing all the different architectural details. And honestly, Istanbul isn't just about the famous landmarks. Some of my favorite parts were just walking around the city. You'd turn one corner and find a beautiful old building, then walk a little further and suddenly you're surrounded by shops, cafes, and people everywhere. I really loved how old and modern everything felt at the same time. You could be looking at a building that's hundreds of years old, and then right next to it there's a really modern cafe or shop. And the streets always felt so alive. Even when we weren't doing anything special, just walking around and taking everything in was actually really fun. And now we have to talk about the food because, obviously, I don't think you can go to Turkey and not try Turkish food. We tried so many different things, and honestly I don't even know which one was my favorite because everything was so good. The kebabs were obviously amazing, and I loved how flavorful everything was. And then there was the bread. I don't know why, but Turkish bread just hits different when you're actually there. And we obviously had to try baklava. I had already tried baklava before, but eating it in Turkey just felt different. It was so crispy, sweet, and honestly, I could have eaten way too much of it. And Turkish tea was literally everywhere. You'd be walking around, stop somewhere for a break, and somehow you'd end up with a little glass of tea. I feel like food ended up being such a big part of the trip because it wasn't just about eating. We'd sit somewhere, talk, watch people walking around, and just enjoy the atmosphere. But honestly, I think my favorite memories weren't even necessarily the biggest tourist attractions. It was the little things. Walking around with no real plan, seeing the city from the ferry, trying random food, taking pictures, and just spending time together. I didn't record every single moment because sometimes I wanted to actually enjoy what was happening instead of being behind my camera the whole time. But I'm really glad I captured some of it. Istanbul was honestly such a beautiful place to visit, and I feel like there was still so much that I didn't get to see. So hopefully this isn't my last trip to Turkey because I definitely want to come back and explore even more. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along with me on this trip. And if you've made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the little Istanbul adventure as much as I did. I'll see you in the next video.